I do want to get into that in more depth, because for y'all, again, as a band who have played, again, tens, hundreds of live shows in front of people or with people around, whether it was busking or even the crowds of hundreds and things like that, that coming from that to an environment where you're on a stage technically, but there's nobody, there's no crowd, you know, and people that are there almost aren't even sure whether or not to clap, you know, even if you do really, really well, because they're just, you know, a lot of times it'll be like tech, or just a few tech folks and stuff like that, and that's it. And even if like the reaction is there, you know, as a tech person, you're just kind of like, oh, my job is to hold the camera steady. I don't want to like say like, yeah. It's really weird where you almost have to like suppress your reaction in that way, even if you really did like what was going on.
Well, and, you know, something that we talked about mostly a joke, but to set up a projector behind us that is hooked up to the comment stream in the, you know, on the stream, so that we could see in front of us the comments that were coming in just as we were playing. And oh, look at that, somebody left 6 raindrop emojis, you know. We must be doing good.
Awesome. It's I think it's so much to get used to, because I would even think that like when you played a show and no one showed up, there's something like kind of like irritating about it, and that like I'd almost like perform a show to no one just to like spite the people that didn't show up, I guess. I don't know. And so like, but it's different. And also I think it's, you know, like just like with us in the studio, is that we tend to be more reined in. And so when I'm watching someone at the camera and the soundboard recording it, I almost, this professional aspect of me kind of starts taking over. So instead of me just like flailing around, I'm like, okay, I got to get this right. I have to play the part right because they're recording it and they're filming it. So I had to make it look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level of scrutiny when you're under like a microscope like that in so many ways. And even stuff you're used to doing live, whether it's like, you know, crazy stunts or anything like that, it's like you almost have to rein it in a little bit because it affects like your playing and the sound sometimes in so many ways, where it's like at a live show with people, those little differences, that's kind of negligible. You know, if anything, it's more about like the energy from putting your all into a performance like that. But then when you take all that away and you have a live stream, now you're just like, I probably should tone it down just for the sake of it like sounding really, really good under a microscope like that. It's just a different medium.
Oh, it totally is. And you don't know at any given moment how many people are engaging with it. It could be 10 people, it could be 500 people. And in both cases, everything that you're doing is going to be immortalized because it's being streamed on the internet and recorded. And
but so, that's my biggest fear. You'll go find those like band fail videos and you're like, no. I am the joke I thought I was.
That is like, that always has been like a weird question though for me, is that were live shows, like genuine live shows with actual people there, ever really meant to be immortalized in that way? Because like I can go back and find old footage of like even my favorite bands from when they were playing like their first early shows, like, and even bands like, you know, the Smashing Pumpkins or Nirvana or anything like that. And you watch like the camcorder, you know, footage that somebody got of like one of their early shows, and it's kind of crappy, honestly. Like, you know, like, and you sort of have to ask yourself, like, if I was there experiencing that in the moment, how would my reaction differ versus if I was like at home on a computer and had this open in one window while I had Facebook open in another window and YouTube open in another window and all these other things that I could just easily click over towards the second that I feel myself getting disengaged. Like, it's a really weird contrast to me between live shows and streams in that way.
Yeah, live shows just command your attention in a totally different way. It's a, you know, it's an atmospherical experience rather than just like one aspect of something that you could be watching, you know, in a 4x6 square on a screen in front of you.
It is so fleeting. It is so ethereal. You know, like you're there, and when you're there, it's like it's hard to describe the feeling. And when it's gone, it's gone. And you can film it on your phone, or you can even professionally film it. I think you always struggle to really capture what that magic is.
Yeah.
And so, I personally just hate camcorder footage or like cell phone footage on myself.
Sure.
I understand it's an important piece of promotion, and you know, like, oh, like look how many times
guaranteed to sound like shit.
It is
not professionally mic'd. No one else wants to see it.
And also, I'm just too critical of myself, so I just like, I'm terrible. I can't listen to my own voice, basically.
But I feel like we've all kind of played those shows in bands where it's like you have an amazing time in the moment. Everybody else at the show has an amazing time too, and for the next years, decades, you know, they'll be telling you about that amazing night, that amazing show at the place. But nobody is going to come up to you in like 5 or 10 years and like show you a video of that and be like, look at how amazing this video was.
Yeah, that's
like,
true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, people talk about how amazing Woodstock is, but nobody talks about, the fact that there was no water there for anyone. And,
where are the toilets?
But, so again, but I do think that what you mentioned about like live streams and things like that, I mean, you said before, like your second one felt so much better than the first because it was a learning curve for you.
Yeah.
And, you do one and you're like, okay, like, it's like any growth process, with any medium. It's like, what went wrong on that one? What can I do better the next time? And you'll be that much better for the next time. The tricky part with shows, of course, you can do like multiples, and especially if you travel around and do shows in different cities. Yeah. Live streams, it's like, man, how many of those a month can you do, to develop? I mean, you can point your phone at yourself every day in your practice space and stuff, but I feel like people kind of get sick of that after the second or third time.
I think so too. And it seems so weird because, it's so much more of an event. There's so much more planning and money being spent to go to a show versus watching a live stream. But I agree. It's like, I couldn't watch the same band live stream every week or every day if someone wanted to do that.
Yeah. Well, and going to a show is a commitment that you make to yourself. Like your transit there, the experience of getting in, waiting in line, getting drinks, watching the show. It's a bigger commitment. Whereas you can choose on a whim whether or not you want to watch some fucking live stream that somebody's been promoting lately. And there's just a lot of stuff to think about right now. It's a minor distraction, I think, watching a live stream.
Yeah. It's also like you have the paradox of choice when it comes to like if you're gonna sit online and look at something, you can look at anything, and so you might not choose anything at all. Anything.
You could look at anything you
want. I am winking right now.
Can I have a rectangle? Watch the downfall of society. I'm choosing to do this.
Rectangle in the world.
The goddamn doomsday clock is just a frisbee at this point. It's a fucking metronome.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, look, another nice little liberal think piece about how, like, this is the worst thing that has ever happened in the entire world. It's like, so was last week.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Stop saying that. Stop saying it can't get any worse.
Stop. It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. Like, steady slope.
Oh,
easy. Frog in the pot. Water's turning up too fast.
Oh man!
The frog is just jumping out of the pot into another pot.
I want to dive. I do want to dive more into that here in a little bit, but I do have to say, like on a silver note, because I don't want to make this sound all doom and gloom with live streams. But like, I gotta say, I used to always be a wholesome heckler when I went to shows back in the day. Mm-hmm. That was like 90% of my fun in some cases. But ever since I discovered the Twitch like chat rooms on the live shows, I feel like I have recaptured that part of my heart.
Hell yeah. There's nothing better than a friendly heckle.
I agree.
I love friendly heckles.
One of my favorite memories is, unfortunately not with this band, but my own father heckled me at a show. It was incredible. He's also a musician. He's played in Seattle bands for forever, but he came to one of my shows one night and, well, we didn't play a particular piece very well, and just from the back I hear, play something you know. And yeah, that was dear old dad. Who was lovingly supported my musical career very, very earnestly, but nice one.
But that's
dropping hard truths too.
Yep, it was great. Loved it.
That's a very dad heckle.
Yeah,
I feel like
it was excellent. It made everybody laugh. It made everybody forget that we absolutely butchered that song.
It comes from a place of love, and so as long as it's a wholesome heckle,
Exactly.